Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Joshua versus Wilder, pay-per-view doesn't matter. Hey, it's Saudi. And that's a fact. Now, I was reading a couple posts out there on Twitter, trying to get a temperature, because I feel Wilder and Joshua should still happen. Some people feel that as far as Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, the fight hasn't gone cold, but it's not scorching hot. They feel like it's a kind of lukewarm. And I have to agree with that. For the people who were initially going into that fight not knowing who would win. I think now, majority of us, even myself, feel that AJ wins that fight. But what I will tell you is, when I hear people approaching Joshua and Wilder from the argument of the fight shouldn't happen because pay-per-view sales won't do what they were projected a couple years ago if Wilder and AJ would have fought for the undisputed distinction. To that, I gotta say, hold your horses. Let's not take it to the stupid. Now, of course, Wilder and AJ, and as far as pay-per-view predictions, it's not going to be anything like what it would have been years ago when they were both undefeated, and really they should have fought for the undisputed status, right? But at the end of the day, let's not act like Wilder and AJ still won't create a bit of a buzz. And when you have the Saudis putting the money up, I'm gonna put it to you this way: has anyone out here heard any reports of how pay-per-view events over in Saudi for the last few years, how they've been performing? You may hear, something about Jake Paul, right? And him and Tommy Fury doing over $1 million, right? Something like that. But I say take that with a grain of salt. But outside of that, when it comes to pay-per-view, right? You really don't hear much. You know why? Because the Saudis pay these guys flat rates. They don't care. I'm not going to say they don't care, but that's not something they're too concerned about, how much money they're going to make on the back end. I was having a conversation with someone who was like, hey, we don't know how far the Saudis are going to go with this boxing thing because they're putting on these big events, paying these guys millions of dollars, and, I just don't think they're going to be able to sustain that. And I was like, yo, my man, McNicholas, hold your horses. Stop taking it to the stupid. The Saudis going to run out of money. How the Saudis going to run out of money, man? How they going to run out of money when they got the goddamn sovereign wealth fund, which they use money from that sovereign wealth fund to help advance the country to be seen as a destination? And sports is one of the vehicles being used to help the international community view Saudi as somewhere where they wouldn't mind going to visit and do a holiday, man. Take the family, go chill. Saudi Arabia is a beautiful place. I live there. I'm not a guy like 99% of people who create these fucking videos and talk about shit. They haven't been places, or they don't. So one, you talk about religion, right? If you knew my background, it would blow your mind. When people start talking about all this religion and shit, yo, from a kid to I'd probably say about age 35. Yo, man, lived it. Not just one religion. That's the uniqueness of it. So I could talk that shit. I don't though, because I didn't know what my channel's about. But every now and then I'll chime in on certain topics. When it comes to people and the secret society thing and playing the game and politics and shit, yeah, I can talk that no problem. Because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I've seen it all. And when we start talking about different countries and cultures, and I've been fortunate to kind of travel from a little kid up until I retired from the military. So I was traveling before I even joined the military, and coming from a household with 2 different cultures, and parents from just very diverse background. I understand a whole lot. So when it comes to Saudi Arabia and the thing about money, it's over $500 billion there. Over $500 billion. And they don't really care about getting a return on the investment, an immediate return. What they're looking at is long term. They have a vision. They have projections. So what they're looking at is in a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, and then the 10-year goal. So what is Saudi going to look like as far as the perception from the international community? And boxing is, they have a lot of sports. See, we just talk boxing, but I've dropped videos where I talked about the other sports and the other things that they have going on out there, from golf to the race car driving, okay, soccer, cricket. They have a lot of different things going on out there in Saudi Arabia. Tennis, if you guys didn't know, golfing. So I think I said golfing. There's more than just boxing. But that being said, Wilder and Joshua, it's not about whether we're interested, okay? It has a lot to do with what Saudi's interested in. And I still feel, and I think the Saudis feel, if you listen to them talk and listen to Deontay Wilder and a couple things he said, they still want Deontay Wilder to fight in Saudi. They still want AJ to fight in Saudi. They still want Joshua versus AJ. Now, if it happens within the first 6 months of next year, I don't know, because the Saudis will come to these promoters and they're saying, hey, this is what we want to do. What do you think? So they already have the vision and they have the brackets. And they're sitting there trying to, hey, these are all the fighters. These are the fights that we want. What about these two guys? And there's conversations that are taking place. So don't think for 1 second that because AJ had lost before and now he's kind of built himself back up and got some good wins. Wilder, 1 win out of the last 4 fights. Happened to lose here against Joseph Parker. That means it's over for Wilder. That matters somewhat, but it's not a deciding factor on if him and AJ are going to fight. What I could see being a deciding factor as far as Wilder in that loss and AJ winning in the last fights would probably be purse split. But then again, it's flat rates, and they'll probably go back to the drawing board and figure some things out. But that being said, I do think going forward, Anthony Joshua, I think Anthony Joshua is going to hold tight. This is the problem. See, AJ was going to fight Wilder because there was huge money on the table. That money's still on the table. How it gets divided up, I don't know. But that money's still on the table. Maybe more for AJ, maybe the same amount, maybe less for Wilder. I don't know that piece, but I know there was huge money on the table. But what I will tell you for Anthony Joshua, he's not going to misstep, because early in March of next year, Usyk and Fury are going to fight. And this is what is going to happen. You may say, well, where's your crystal ball, Hood Champion? How do you know what's going to happen? Because goddamn, just pay attention to how things have been working. The IBF, they're going to strip the winner of Usyk and Fury. They're going to strip the winner of the IBF belt. That's why Eddie Hearn, everybody's sitting around. They're just like little crocodiles waiting for that little dumb guy, blind man to cross the bridge and fall off into the goddamn river. They're sitting there like crocodiles with their goddamn tongues hanging out their mouth, because they know the IBF is going to strip the winner. Because whoever wins has to fight Flip Hergovich. And they're not going to. It's going to be a rematch. So they'll be rematching for 3 belts. Kind of like what we could see with Spence and Crawford. Rematch for only 3 belts. And then that IBF belt is going to be there for Flip Hergovich and, if it's AJ, to fight for it. So you could see AJ and Flip Hergovich fighting, if Fury and Usyk fight in March, maybe April, you'll see AJ fight Flip Hergovich. So I don't think we'll see AJ in the ring between January and March. I think he'll wait till April. They get the news that whoever wins gets stripped, and then he'll go and fight Flip Hergovich. But that's just what I see. I don't mind being wrong. We just have conversations. So for those of you who are always out there like telling people, you're wrong, oops, yo, it's a conversation. There's speculation. There's assumptions that are made when we're talking boxing. Nobody knows. Not even the Saudis know what's going to happen. They have a vision, things they want, but they still have to have conversations with everybody involved. All right? But that being said, I don't think AJ and Wilder is dead, but I agree it's not as hot as it was before, man. I agree 100%. But at the same time, I don't think it matters because it's Saudi, and they don't care about pay-per-view and all that. They got 500 billion to throw at whatever the hell they want to throw at. Look, 500 billion. They haven't even expended 1 billion on these different events. You understand what I'm telling you? They are not worried. What they're looking at is how these events they're putting on, when it comes to sports as a whole, going to benefit their country and their economy. And it's 1, 3, 5, 10-year vision, 10-year goal. And I think every year, as long as they're getting a step closer to where the projections were set, I think they're going to be happy. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.